It is the rock and roll mystic in for day 3 of the 12 days of Yule, hosted by Ivy the occultist. And if you haven't subscribed to her channel, you need to do that because it is worth your while. So today, day 3 is basically, let me get my notes so I get the right exact definition. So one moment, please. It is reflect on the last year of your practice. Well, this past year has been an interesting one, to say the least. Um, I am relatively new to this whole thing. If you've watched my other videos, you know that by now. And I'm definitely new to the YouTube thing, but I have been in, I guess you would call them witchy spaces for over a decade. And just to give you a little bit of a nutshell version of who I am and why this year is significant, I'll just kind of just briefly go over that. And if you haven't watched my videos, just so you know, I don't edit. This is a talking head video. So there's going to be a lot of filler words. There's going to be a lot of stumbling over my words. I have no idea how it's all going to come out, but I hope you enjoy it and I hope I entertain you at some point and enjoy my little story time. So you can grab a tea, you can grab some hot cocoa, whatever your libation of choice, and let's get into it. So, intro on me, and I will do a full video on who I am and how I got here and all of that. So, I'm just to do nutshell. I have been a crystal peddler for 12, 13 years now. And I have been an enlightenment mentor and an enlightenment coach and a certified law of attraction coach for the last, I would say, 7 years. So I came from that space, the enlightenment space, the meditation space, the Buddhist space, the um, Reiki space. I am also a Reiki master teacher. I am a healing touch for animals practitioner. I am an animal spirituality facilitator. I'm kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to energy facilitation. So from crystals to Reiki to human touch or healing touch. So that is kind of where I come from. Now, last year, things started shifting for me. And I'm talking about 2021. And I mean, the pandemic has shifted a lot of people. But for me in particular, it it really it changed my entire life for the better. Um, I in 2020, I became a podcast creator and I have a podcast called the Animal Files Podcast. It's available on wherever you get your podcasts. And I've been doing that for 3 years. We are going to be starting our fourth season next March. And and that's been enlightening. So I've been able to take all of my animal work and take it and turn it into this teaching vehicle with my partner, who is an animal health specialist up in Canada. So that's been an interesting thing. And then 2001 started, and here I am being offered a position to be a radio presenter at a British radio station in Wiltshire, UK. So I am now, for the last over 2 years, I've been a rock and roll DJ, the only rock and roll DJ on the station, and the only American and the only female. So it's been interesting. So after all of that changed, I started being called to do more. And I explained in another video that I just got this feeling that I needed to take all of this higher frequency stuff that I've been doing with the Reiki and the healing touch and that, and merge it with the 3D and the earthly stuff, and to kind of step into my Virgo ness and become more practical in my everyday life. Now, my enlightenment stuff has always been everyday enlightenment. I totally believe that you can find enlightenment doing the most mundane of tasks. And it's how I got to where I am now. So I kind of walk my talk, and I help others do the same. So that's that part. And then I've started, like I said, I've been called to kind of make that blend. And I, my best friend, she's a psychic medium channeler, and I was learning a lot from her. And then I started, there was a psychic fair at my crystal shop here or near me. And I started getting some more information. I'm like, okay. And then one of those readers said, oh, did you know there's a magic shop where you live? And I'm like, really? Okay. And so I found it and I started going. And then I started going to their monthly seances. And that's when everything changed because um, I started, I guess, stepping in to, I guess, a different path, and different collectives and spirits were reaching out to me, which is very strange. Now, I had worked with the Galactics. I had worked with, the Archangels. I've worked with like these, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth dimensional beings. But I had never been spoken to by more earthly entities. I had an ancient ancestor reach out to me. I had I was introduced to, I guess, my guardian angel that I wasn't aware of. Oh, and there's my see, there it is. That's my guardian angel saying hi. Um, that was interesting. Anyway, and so things started evolving, and this ancient ancestor, and from what I've found since then, a couple times she's popped into these seances this year. We think she is pre-recorded history, so way back in my family line. And my mother is the genealogist, and we have never gone further than, I think my mom has gotten back to like the 1600s at some point, but never further than that. So it was kind of interesting being introduced to her and having her reach out to me and try to help me out. So that was happening in the beginning of the year, and then I started getting all these weird downloads, and that's where my crystal shop came. And I have a very small, I haven't even gotten, I'm looking at my entire inventory. I have so many crystals that I have to get up on my shop, but I do have a shop called Magic Rocks. And right now there's just 8 little crystal bundles on there. Um, but I started getting these downloads, and then I started getting more people coming in, and then Metatron came in, and then Master Yeshua came in, and all these people started talking to me. And then I had my guardian angel and everything, and it just started to evolve. And then I started to um, just dabble in candle magic because I love candles. I've been into candles, I don't know, probably 25 years. I've been actively burning candles. And so I started using them. And then and the biggest shift that happened this year is I had, and I'll be talking more about this when we get to the death and rebirth prompt, but I had my cat pass away on Easter. And I had these 2 cats, and they were born with feline leukemia virus. And so I was doing everything I can to keep them healthy until they weren't. And, Frankie died in 2022. And in September of 2022, no, I take that back, 2021. And then Maisie was able to stay, and she ended up getting sick 2 weeks before Easter and then passed away. And as I do with all of my animals, like I said, I'll talk about this later, is I did the death doula thing, and I prepared them for transition. And I think that was when I did my first active spell. And I was calling on, I think, Archangel Ariel, and then there was Haniel that I was working with. And I just wanted her transition to be clear, clean, and have her not suffer, because she wanted to do it her way, and I had to honor that. So again, I'll talk more about this when we get to the death and rebirth prompt. But that was when I first started. But that's also when I started, when I start kind of, I was paralyzed after that. I was angry. I had done my darndest to keep these two cats healthy, and just everything I did, they burned bright and they burned fast, and it just completely drove me into the ground. As a neurodivergent person, I have ADHD. I was in ADHD paralysis for several months, and it took a reading from my best friend, and also a couple readings for me to see that I had been in this paralyzed state, this angry state. I was just so angry at the loss of my two beautiful kitties. And so once I made those realizations, and then it's almost like all these blocks kind of came off, and I was able to do some other workings. And I had done protection workings in the past. So I did my first protection spell for my mother probably the fall of 2022. And then I did another working for a family member in March of 2023. And both of them have held tight. And that was when I realized, oh, wait, this is actually real. I can do this. And so I started, and then I did my brother moved down to Key West, so I made him a pouch with protection herbs and crystals. And I even kind of made my own magic. I call it word magic, because I just took strips of paper with certain words that are my intentions for him, and put them in with the crystals and with the herbs, and then I bless them and whatever. And that has been also, that is, I'm noticing, he hasn't told me, but I'm seeing him become himself again. And so I think he's actually prospering down in Key West. So that working has been successful. So as all these things have been coming, I've been like, oh, great. And then I find out that I'm being attacked by dimensional stuff, past life stuff, and entities that were connected to a family member, and they were attacking me for some reason. And that was not fun. It's not fun. Especially because it wasn't your usual stuff. These weren't 3D people. These were not humans. These were dimensional beings that were doing this to me. And it was creating, I had a whole week where I could barely walk. I could barely move. And then I snapped, in a sense. I guess, like, I would say snapped out of it. Because what I did is I was so frustrated, and so I was in so much pain, that I just got to this point where I had to take what I've done for other people and do it for me. And even though this path has been my way of trying to better my life, like I wanted it to just, I'm into the practical stuff. I want to better my life and make my life more magical and more vibrant and more prosperous. I never expected to have to, you know, do protections on myself because my house is full of crystals. It's just completely, it's always been protected. It's built on granite with pink quartz, which I didn't realize until they had to work on our sidewalk, which was actually really cool, which made me realize why this house has such great energy. But I snapped. I had to do something. And so I did my own protection working. I made my own black salt with my own recipe, and I created my own ritual. And that was the first time that I had done something that was my own. I was inspired, but I made it my own. And it was basically my first digital book of shadows pages, which I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. And I really enjoyed that. And I wasn't sure if I was going to have to use, my red salt with the cayenne pepper to kind of return to sender. I have not had to do that, but I made it. That's there. But I did make this black salt and it opened up another door. So I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. And the ritual worked. Now I also had help. Archangel Raphael had been working on me to try to heal all the pain that these entities were doing to me. I had Archangel Michael help me cut cords. And I had a couple of of generous and noble beings that decided to step in and give me a boost. And that, I don't know, that changed things for me. It did. I can't lie. It changed things. Um, and at that same time, I was my spiders came in full force as well. So it was just it was this period of just all these different energies helping me out, boosting me up, sending me messages, doing this thing. And as I'm doing these workings, which I had never done, and creating my own book of shadows page, my very first book of shadows page, I I guess I can call myself a witch now. I'm still a little iffy about the words. Um, because of old conditioning, growing up in a Christian household or whatever. And despite the fact that I know logically every single human on this planet is a witch to some degree, we all have a power that we just haven't found yet or we are using. It's just a matter of degree and practice and all that stuff. So but yeah, that was when I realized, I'm like, okay, this is it. So I started trying to do like money spells and trying to do healing spells on myself to, really eliminate the pain. Um, and it's just been an interesting year. And then I start this YouTube channel and I'm being called to do all these tags. Well, all these tags I've done too. It's a lot when you don't do anything. Um, so yeah, and then I have my first altar, you know, and I even have a nice cinnamon broom out there that I have to bring in here at some point. And and I have my crystal shop and all these crystals that want to work with me, and I get to play with and share and sell to spread the magic. And that's been my year in my practice. It's been interesting, and I'm looking forward to 2024. I know it's going to be like us getting shot out of a begun because it's going to go fast. I've also been learning a little bit about astrology, and that's been enlightening. So that's also been part of this past year. And I know that in February, all planets will be direct. We are going to be like shot out of a slingshot, and next year is going to go fast. It's going to go fast. There's going to be a lot of shifting. There's going to be a lot of craziness. And we just got to hold on tight and just keep our cool, because it's going to be nuts. I think all over the world, not just in my country. I think just all over the world, it's going to be crazy. So advice from an enlightened teacher, make sure to stay on your axis. Don't let the world knock you off your axis, because as long as you are taking care of you and your own, everything's going to be okay, despite the chaos that is this world is basically involved in right now. So that's my little witchy advice for you all. And that is my day 3. So hopefully that was enjoyable. I don't know how long this is. I wasn't timing it, and I don't edit, so it's going to be what it is. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you like what you hear. And I look forward to sharing more of myself during this 12 days of Yule. And thank you again to Ivy for hosting this tag. It's been fun. It's getting me out of my comfort zone, and it's helping me to look at my life in a way that, I haven't done before. I mean, I guess I did like little bits here and there, but not in a focused way. And with that, I need to get back to doing my show, because I have a Christmas show that is going to be playing on Christmas Day, and I have to do all of the work for that. I've only gotten halfway done, so I took a break to talk to you guys, and now I need to go back to work and put on an awesome Christmas show on Christmas Day. And if you're interested, it's going to be at 4 p.m. UK time, which is 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern time. So it'll be fun. It's a rock show. So it'll be a nice, fun little 2-hour Christmas section. But the whole radio station is going to be doing Christmas music all day. So it's going to be interesting. And I will leave all that information in the description below, just so you have that. I'll pop my podcast down there. I'll pop my radio show, and all of that stuff. So since I've talked about it. So have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I will see you all tomorrow.